All right, it is early January now. We have a good look at what the 2026 fitness season includes, all the dates and opportunities. So, figured it'd be a good time to go through 2026 official competition schedule for me. Some of these things are kind of have a little asterisk beside them, TBD if necessary, basically. But before we do that, I thought I would recap my 2025 season. Overall, it was decent. Just kind of looking back on things after the games in 2023, I really wanted to step up my fitness. At that time, I was known more as a strength athlete and kind of either was going to be like top three in the event or pretty much dead last. So I worked really, really hard on my weaknesses. Closing at 2023 into 2024, had a really good showing at Wodapalooza in 2024, trailed off, didn't make the games, obviously, which was a big disappointment, which was really tough after, working probably overall twice as hard, twice as much stress about the minor details compared to 2023 and kind of seeing a worse result the next year. It's maybe a good lesson on focusing on the things that matter, and some of the minutiae isn't worth the stress of if missing bedtime one night causes you great stress, maybe it's not worth it to be so focused on bedtime. I don't know, just some thoughts. So coming into 2025, I was actually doing all of my own programming. The season started in Miami with Wodapalooza. Again, 2024 was one of the best showings of my life in a competition at Wodapalooza. So have some good memories on the beach here. New venue. On the individual side of things, I started really slow. There was a workout with echo bike and step overs and running. And I thought, this is my time. I've been working on my running, taken like minutes off my 5K in the past probably 8 months. So this is a great time to show that off. And I think I was maybe like 35th in a field of 40 or something. So really bad start. Kind of had me questioning all the work I've been doing on those things. The next event didn't really go that well either. I think after day one, I was sitting pretty close to the bottom. Thankfully, I know how to deal with this. I've done it quite a few times. So the next day, I kind of picked things up, started getting some good points. And by the final event, I squeaked into the final heat, and I think I even finished 7th overall. So not quite as good as the previous year's 5th, but had some really good, momentum. I'll use that word a lot this video. Finishing off that competition with some really strong finishes. After that, I did the team side of Wodapalooza. It always sounds like a good idea a couple months in advance, but kind of when you're done individual, you kind of just want to be done for the weekend, but you may as well make a good trip and weekend out of it. So I did team with the Sculpted Scholars, which was me, Tutor Magda, and Ben Boulanger. We actually had to do the qualifiers because you needed 2 prior year games athletes to qualify. So I think we may have won almost every workout in the qualifier. We won overall for sure. So we were basically coming in a little bit underdogs, none of us have like huge sponsors or anything, and we're also coming out of the qualifier versus all these other invite teams. And that was super fun. It was great time with those guys. I think we got along really well. To be honest, I think we performed quite well. There were some highlights and also some highlights that were lowlights. Tutor flipped the sled. We were sitting in a really good position, and he started kind of pulling it while the sled was still backwards, and instead of the sled rotating, it just flipped and all the weights fell off. So it took us some time of getting that back in order. Ultimately cost us a few spots, but to be honest, I'm not sure any of us really cared. We certainly weren't upset about it or had any negative emotions towards Tutor. So just like kind of fun moments like that you remember. And then also the worm workout in practice, we could only do it touch and go. and when I say in practice, I mean in the warm-up area 15 minutes before the event. So we tried to do singles and we just couldn't get our timing, but we found that kind of when we just went reckless, touch and go, things didn't seem to fall apart, or at least not till after a few reps. And we knew that not many teams were really going to go for it, so we thought we got nothing to lose. Thought we should have had the win in that, but we had to move the worm right before starting our last set of worm clean and jerks. But second place finish on like a risky kind of strategy. That was probably the overall highlight of the weekend. But yeah, so moving past Wodapalooza, I felt good about how things ended. I felt good about how I felt during the team workouts. So now we're, past January, going into March. It was around this time that I kind of decided what the rest of my year would look like. So I was doing my final co-op placement for school. This was an 8-month co-op, probably more demanding than any that I've had in the past. And quite frankly, like just taking a ton of, Thursday, Fridays, even more off throughout the year just wasn't going to be doable. So I kind of had to choose between, the structure of WFP, which I knew exactly what it would look like, or trying to go for the game season where, you have to do the open and quarters, which not too big of a deal, but, semifinals, I'd probably have to, try to go here and not make it, go here and not make it, try to go here, who knows, and then go online semifinals, which isn't just a weekend. I believe it was Thursday, Friday through the weekend. So my thinking was kind of, if I do the WFP season, I can set myself up for a strong 2026 when I'm done school and have a bit more time to focus on training and competing. And so that's basically what I did is focus on WFP in the hopes of getting a pro card so that this year, 2026, I don't have to do qualifiers. And now I'm set up a little better versus if I did the game season last year. I'm back to, everyone's back to square one. That's kind of the beauty of it. But if I could only do one, I may as well build something that I can kind of keep going on in 2026. So that's why I chose WFP. The first qualifier was in March. There's a lot of pressure to make the pro division, which was, I believe, the top 10 in the qualifier. And quite frankly, those qualifiers in March were just a mess. I redid every workout, I think 3 times each. It got a little better every time, but things just weren't feeling good. And I remember thinking I might not even make this challenger division. And so thankfully I did, and it was good to see some names that, I consider pretty strong people in the sport, like Tudor and Ty Jenkins. So it was kind of the saving grace that, okay, well, at least there's still some good names in this division, and I can probably go compete, hopefully for the win. So that was kind of the thinking after the qualifier. I wasn't happy not to make pro, and I knew I'd have a hole to dig myself out of to try to make like the finals and actually climb up the leaderboard nicely, but I was going to work with what I had. So in April, I got invite to do the Mayhem Classic, which is obviously part of the CrossFit season. So you might be asking, what's the point? And to be honest, there wasn't really one, just that I could make it happen in terms of getting off work, and it was just a short drive, pretty long drive, but it was a drivable distance to compete with some of the best people. So that's what I did. I didn't put too much emphasis on the lead up into this, just because it didn't really matter if I did well. I wasn't going to the game, so I may as well kind of try to keep training going and just use it as an experience builder. And to be honest, I had very little confidence when the workouts came up. High volume GHD, even just running at that point, the confidence was low, and I hadn't really prepped specifically for this comp, doing like a ton of GHD volume or things like that are going to come up at a Mayhem comp. So very little confidence going into this, and quite frankly, felt pretty flat the whole time. I remember the first workout doing feed bag squats and just feeling like I was, squatting like 225, and it was a 100-pound bag. So whatever, it was fun, I guess. Kind of after this, I realized that I wanted to make some training changes. Like I said, I had been programming for myself for a few months at this point. I'd say almost 6 months. And so kind of at this time, I started looking for a coach. I think it was just easier to have confidence when there's two people working on a plan together versus, me trying to write stuff myself, not sure if it's frankly what I need. So just having two people to kind of bounce ideas off of is better for building confidence in that sense. And then the other thing, it's just a huge time commitment to program it. It takes hours a week, and that's just not time that I had at this point. So I kind of looked around. I talked to a lot of coaches, and to be honest, there are a lot of good options out there. Could have gone, a few ways, but really happy with going with David Spur. Lots of reasons behind that. Obviously, just talking to people, you kind of get a sense of their excitement to work with you, if they have ideas, really how almost confident they are that they can help you, and how confident you are that they can help you. So lots of factors into choosing a coach. Really happy with the direction I went there. So me and David started working together probably late April or early May, which was only a few weeks before the first WFP in Indianapolis. So went there. Again, the focus was to try to win, basically, or at least be very close to that. And I found myself in last place out of 20 after day one. And I remember walking back to the hotel with Tudor, and I think he was doing pretty well at that point already, probably top 3. And I just couldn't help but laugh. It was almost better than being in 10th place, because I know that my skill and fitness level is not 20th place in that division. And so it just had me kind of wondering what's going on here, versus being in 10th place. I'm questioning my fitness. Is this actually where I belong? So it was a weird situation. Again, this seems to happen a lot. And so I did exactly what I did in the 2024 semifinals when things went bad. I ate a ton of salty, kind of unhealthy food, just to try to jolt the system back into some sort of, I don't know. At that point, you may as well try anything, right? So that's exactly what I did, and went on a heater after that. I think I won 4 consecutive events with a split jerk, echo bike, and then the next 2 events. And frankly, on the last event, I kind of did myself over by trying to go for the win. I just I tried to lead right from the beginning and got past a bit at the end. But I think I still came 3rd in that event. So you go 19th, 18th, and then first, 3rd or something. That seems to happen a lot, and it's an interesting scenario because you can kind of just then look back fondly on the weekend instead of actually remembering the things that went poorly, which I tried not to do, but that's kind of the trap with doing really poorly at the beginning and then just finishing strong, is you kind of don't have that same fire as if you did just poorly all weekend. But tough to take away really anything from that. Again, the first workout, a running workout, doing really poorly, but it's not like I was putting my best performance in on game day, and that was just all I had. I kind of was falling apart and didn't really feel like I did when I practiced these things in training. So I kind of had to find a way to get the best out of myself right on day one, and I kind of did that moving forward, and I'll explain how. So next was the second WFP qualifier, and now I really had to make the pro division. It's tour stop 2. It's not looking good if you make challenger both times. So big focus here. Kind of put training on pause. Did a little taper into it even, just to make sure that I made that pro division, and I did, thankfully. I have confidence in myself that if I could get into that pro division online, then I can do well in an in-person comp. And going into Arizona, training was going really well. Again, still on this co-op term, which is tough to, be working 8 hours a day and then also commuting a lot. There just isn't much time to really relax because you're either on that or training. And so going into that, I really just wanted to prove to myself that I can be in the mix. And I did just that. Started with a run. I was really happy to come mid-pack, surprised myself on a lot of events there, and quite frankly, the only one that didn't go well was the final event with ring muscle-ups and clean and jerk. I've developed this new issue of swinging on the comp rings. I can't seem to replicate it at my gym on either short rings or long rings, but it's something I need to fix because I haven't had this issue in the past, and basically makes my max set of ring muscle-ups like 7 on these comp rings, which was not ideal for a workout that opens with a set of 18. So I think I finished 13th or so there. Not bad, good enough to like really boost me up the leaderboard into I think 22nd place on the WFP leaderboard. And it was really good to have a comp that just went well. You know, I learned some things just in training and over the course of the last few years that kind of primed me for a good day. So a lot of people like to take a full day off, or you know, maybe just do a little bit of movement the day before a competition. I found what works for me, which is a little bit more than that. Keeping the aerobic system primed mostly. It's nothing super high intensity, but just some points there on my taper that are maybe a bit unique to me as an athlete, just being so naturally explosive that I just got to keep the aerobic system primed, and I'm better with a little ramp up before a competition, even the 2 days prior. So found things that worked for me there, was really happy with how that went, and excited to keep building momentum. So at this point, we're going to the finals in Copenhagen, and you know, people start dropping out. So all of a sudden the idea of, you know, like going for the pro card isn't that big of a deal because I'm already in like 17th or something. And I was pretty confident that I'm not going to go down. So yeah, Copenhagen, really fun comp. I've been practicing my swimming a lot, so I was really glad to see those 2 swim workouts come up. I think it was a real gift for me because some people aren't swimming year round and kind of just try to cram, and I've been swimming year round for 5 years, and I'm definitely not a swimmer. Don't think I'm particularly even talented in that domain, but I straight up just have put in probably like 50 times the number of meters as most people in the field. So I was really excited for that. Wasn't nervous at all for the swim workouts, and you know, walked away from the pool with a 4th place and 7th place in those 2 swim workouts. The next workout again should have been good for me. Didn't go as I had hoped. I was trying out some new grips, which was a bad idea, but didn't really like how that went. But after a huge day 2 with the Project 1 workout and the 1 rep max snatch, I found myself in 2nd place overall. And to be honest, I think I prefer to climb than kind of know I'm going to go down, which you might say isn't a good mindset, but you know, the alternative is to keep going out at 2nd place pace, and all of a sudden you're falling off huge in workouts and not maximizing your performance. So, you know, I spoke with my coach and also Brent Fikowski, and we're kind of just saying like, just keep doing your thing. Frankly, odds are you're probably not going to finish 2nd, but just keep running your own races and the results will be good. I wasn't super happy to drop so far down. To be honest, I got really tired towards day 3 and especially day 4. It was really hard to kind of get that energy back for those last few events. It's funny, on day 2 before a 1 rep max snatch, I have so much energy that instead of listening to like anything hype, I'm listening to Do They Know It's Christmas? Like that's the song I'm listening to as I walk down to the venue, just because I don't need any extra level of, you know, excitement and try to get me all hyped up on day 2. I just have that naturally, but day 3 and 4, I really started to hurt, had some bad sleeps, just kind of burnt the candle at both ends too early probably that weekend. And there's some new measures and kind of protocols that I have in place that can help me just feel better. I've never done a 4-day comp before, so that was good learning. So yeah, dropped to 9th place. Whatever. I've kind of established myself. A few people have told me this, that I've kind of established myself as one of the best in the kind of the second tier of fitness. So there's kind of like a top 8 to 10 guys that are always the top 8 to 10 if they're at the competition, and I'm kind of like next there. So my goal for this year is to really break into that next tier of fitness and hopefully start beating some of those guys, especially my boy Tudor. I don't like when he beats me, and in the last few comps he's started slow and then passed me by the end. So got to put that to an end, but more so we got to catch up to the people that are really seen as big boys in the sport, like Sprague, Pepper, and Hopper, all these guys. So I think that can be done this year, and that leads us to the 2026 plan. So this year I'm gonna make a run primarily at WFP. That will be my main focus, just because basically earning potential for me across a year. I think I can, make quite a bit of money there. I would need to have probably like a podium finish at the games to do better than that. So that's going to be my primary goal is WFP, but I am also going to be doing the CrossFit season. So the season is going to start in May, early May in Mexico for WFP Tour Stop 1. Again, really nice that I'm not having to do qualifiers for that, and also that I'm not paying for travel. So this year for WFP, my minimum is, I believe, 20,000. But I've said this before, honestly, that doesn't really mean much to me. More so the travel money is really nice because I hope to out earn that minimum. I almost did this year with being in the Challenger division. So that will be the primary goal starting in May, Mexico. We're obviously going to have to do the Open and quarterfinals. To be honest, I'll try to basically just train through those as much as possible, especially the Open, just throw that in at the end of a training day. And quarterfinals I'll have to put a little more into because I'm hoping to qualify for the Syndicate semifinal, which is end of May. So already a busy May. So that will be in Knoxville. Hopefully take one of the top 3, I believe top 3, might be top 5 spots there. But if not, we'll have to do a quick turnaround for online semis, which is middle of June, so just a few weeks later. After that would be the games in July. I really hope to go to that 20th anniversary. Rumors are that we're going back to the ranch. There's nothing behind that. That's just what people are saying. So that could be really cool, and I definitely like to be a part of that. Obviously, the games, in my opinion, still draw kind of the most fanfare. 2023 games, I didn't even do well, but just crushing one event was pretty much life-changing. So it's a really cool event to be a part of, even though I think WFP is better in terms of sustainability for an athlete and probably earning potential as well. Like, I could lose money doing the CrossFit season for the reasons of just the attention that the games gets. It's really important, or I'd really like to do it. So games will be in the middle of July. Then we'll have our end of July, and then end of the next month will be the WFP Tour Stop 2 in Indiana. So already a busy May to August here. Depending on how we're feeling then, maybe make a run at Rogue. But, it's so hard to say. Maybe I'll get an invite at that point if I have boosted myself up the ranking system enough, but the qualifiers are just so hard. And now that you don't even know if they're going to take 5 people, it's even tougher to kind of commit to doing those, especially when you're pretty tired after a few heavy months. So we'll see how that goes. Maybe compete there, and then definitely in end of December in Copenhagen. Like I said, the goal for this year is to kind of just establish myself into that next tier of athlete, where I can, be pushing for top 5s rather than top 10s. So That's the goal. That's the plan. Really excited. Maybe we'll throw in a couple high rocks or ethics races, maybe even a running event or two, if I can find a good spot where that fits in and doesn't take away too much from my main focus. So that's the season plan. Really excited for this year, and hopefully I can make some solid noise. So keep following along. We'll have some good videos here on YouTube and obviously on my Instagram as well. So that's it.